Welcome to Fouts Boxing Theory, number one film starting artist on the planet. I'm the guy who created it all. Everyone uses my system. That's why everyone sounds like me. But we're going to be talking about a few things here. And this is we've got a lot to go over and a lot to talk about and why in this, because we're going to kind of talk about why Devin Haney is not gun shy, why it's strategy and this and that. And we're going to talk about why Brian Norman Jr., when we get down to it, when we talk about it, he's a better version of what Devin Haney's trying to be. Okay, Brian Norman Jr. is, in this sequence right here, we're going to play this real quick. This is going to be one of the most important sequences in the fight. But we're going to go ahead and start with a little bit of Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney. Okay, but Brian Norman Jr. he's a legit professional fighter. The simple fact that he can punch with both hands and he's a good enough athlete shows that he's dedicated enough that it's dangerous enough to attack him no matter where he is. Shows that he cares enough about fighting to learn how to punch, that it's important. That he's a real fighter. No matter what, if you get more than one position on him and you're not in position, he may hit you with a hard shot. Right? You're never that far ahead on Brian Norman Jr., like you should never be against a real professional fighter. Okay, so we're going to talk about that a lot, but the first thing I want to talk about is Ryan Garcia's, an amateur. We're going to talk a lot about that too, the difference between them, and we have some very, very, very important points to make in this fight. But what I want to point out here is that Devin Haney, as soon as pressure gets put on him, notice that he's a prisoner in his own line, right? Your line exists in between your feet. You can only move your head in between your feet. And notice his head doesn't actually go anywhere between his feet. He's always trying to get into one position. Now, I want you to pay attention to the fact that he looks like he has his hands up right now, but if someone throw a right hand right over the guard, he has to move his hands in order to block a right hand over the guard. It's very, very, very important. This is a very common problem that people who get stuck in a bladed stance face. And that's important. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. But he's already on the right side of the line, even though he's on the front foot. Okay, this is also very important. A compromised structure. He doesn't understand positions. He doesn't really go to that other side of the line, but look at how he has to move to get off the line. He can't move his head without moving his feet. Notice he can't create a heel-knee structure with the back foot. He can't get there, right? Here he is jumping, right? But look at how his feet have to move as his head moves. And now, was this an equal and opposite reaction to what Devin Haney gave him? No, it was not. It was a massive overreaction. And this is because he doesn't know how far he has to move. He knows he just has to move. And again, he doesn't really possess the ability to change positions or slip punches. Okay? This is going to be a very, very, very big problem for him later. But I just wanted to point that out. And then how he's always bouncing side to side. This part right here, how he's doing this, we're going to talk about that a little bit later in the film study. But we want to kind of set a little bit of a tone here. Notice when Devin Haney has space, right, and he's not kind of there's no pressure on him, right? Ryan Garcia giving him a little bit of control. He's got his high guard still, but he tries to get into this guard, right? And it's the high guard into this guard, right? So it's like Philly shell, high guard-ish, Philly shell, high guard-ish, right? And he'll cycle through them. See, here he is, touching the line. You can't do this at the beginning of a fight because if you're setting a timing and a rhythm here and your opponent just says, okay, when you get to this position and I know you're going to throw that, you're going to put your shoulder here, I'm just going to throw the fastest, snappiest right hand I can right over, bop, just like that. And there are guys that can do it, right? Ask Andre Ward. Sergey Kovalev did it, right? And the thing is you're not going to be able to fight at a high level where at the highest level, it's only at the highest level where people are really good strikers. At the lower level, you're going to find guys who are, average fighters who are like, maybe they've got decent IQ. They're not very good athletes. They're not fast and snappy. They call them cab drivers, right? But it's a guy who maybe he trains, he does some of the techniques and he does this. But there's a range of fighters that guy can beat the crap out of and look like Sugar Ray Leonard. There's a range of them, right? At the top level, that starts getting smaller and smaller where everyone has to be... Notice all the guys at the top are great athletes now. That didn't always used to be the case. Remember in the 90s, people get tired and this, you've got to be in shape. That was such a common trope, right? When nobody knew anything about fighting. But at the top level, guys are not only in shape, but they're able to take advantage of small holes and small things. And Devin Haney hasn't been at the top with any strikers, right? The best guy that he fought was Lomachenko, and that guy's fast and snappy-ish, right? He doesn't have any hooks, right? It's all straight punches. But also, like, fighting a southpaw is different than fighting in the open stance. And the other thing is, Devin Haney's also been the weight bully. He's also, he's not fought any veterans, right? Who's the only veteran he fought? Jorge Linares, an average fighter at best. He's average, right? He's not a great fighter. Nobody's looking at Jorge Linares like, wow, that guy's the fucking, he's the greatest of all time. Goody. But at the highest level, you're not going to be able to approach the line like this without a guard. There's going to be guys like, and Ryan Garcia showed Devin Haney that there was space where if he got too close when he was like this, Ryan Garcia could hit him. And we're going to talk about that. But Devin Haney wants to go through his active guard here, right? A little bit active guard, and then boom, into the Philly shell. He has a very particular rhythm that he's trying to get into here when he's trying to strike, when he's trying to fight. But if you're not letting him do this stuff in here, okay? And again, we're going to talk about that. It's very, very, very important as the film study goes on. Moving around, shuffling around, right? Now notice, he doesn't actually cross the line here. He's just penduluming around, right? And I say pendulum loosely so that people who follow my channel for a long time, they understand that this move has a lot of moves that go with it. And there's a lot of space in his line that he's not using. Okay, so he doesn't have the ability to set any traps. He doesn't have the ability to do A, B, C, right? Because he jumps up into the air too quickly. But every time he crosses the line, like right here, he could be throwing a left hand, right? And then when he starts coming back, he can start throwing the right hand. But then when he wants to get planted, he's going to get into these positions where he settles down. And he makes it very obvious when it's time to snap. Okay? Very, very, very important. Now, stepping jab to the body. Look at him fall off balance. At a high level, at a pro level, where guys are used to taking advantage of holes, okay? And they're able to do that stuff. You're not going to get away with this move that often. However, and we're going to talk about this a little bit later, and again, we have some very, 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 very good film to go over, some really, really, really cool sequences, and really compelling stuff. Again, I think this is a complete mismatch, you guys. This is just such a mismatch. But when we take a look at Haney, when he gets into the corner here, we want to take a look at his defense. Notice he's not slipping the punches, right? He's ducking down straight. He's keeping his head right in the middle of the line. Again, he doesn't have the ability to transfer his weight from one foot to the other. Okay, now, if you guys are part of my Discord program, I have an entire series of drills to teach people to learn to transfer their weight, learn how to do this stuff, called my square and my circle drills. If you want to learn how to do that stuff, check out the Discord. The drills, the mobility drills will teach you how to do this stuff so that eventually you can do it in front of a guy, right? But Devin Haney doesn't have any ability here to transfer his weight to one leg or the other. So as soon as his opponent gets into range, he can't bait toward the back foot or slip to the front on the inside and start fighting either way. So he ducks this way and he has to start bodying up here, right? This is an old Mayweather trick, but Devin Haney doesn't do it the way Mayweather would do it. He doesn't do it. He does it to smother, right? Not to get away from a punch and then to start fighting on the inside. But as we see here, if he does not hold and grab, a guy just has to step back and then start throwing punches. And now, again, this is one of those moves that works against low-level guys, right? And again, if we think back at that last sequence where the jab to the body was there, one of the reasons why Devin Haney doesn't pay for that against Ryan Garcia as much is because Ryan Garcia is so bladed so that he can always have his longest hook available to him. But him having his feet so bladed means that he can't cross the line of his opponent when he throws the right hand because his feet are on the same line. So Devin Haney gets away with a lot of bullshit, right? Now, Devin Haney's a bladed fighter too. He takes advantage of the blade and the fact that it makes everything faster and all that stuff. Kinda. But it also inhibits his ability to fight and his ability to get back into position to strike. Notice, if he was planted right here, this is not a bad position, right? This would be a basic open stance. But notice, he still has to completely blade himself before he starts doing anything. And all the time in between, he's going to be in danger. Now, again, take a look at these guys shuffling forward. Look at how in line their feet are when we take a look at them. Both of their feet are on the same exact line. And, again, if Ryan Garcia, right, he recognizes that Devin Haney's going to get planted. He stops penduluming and jumping around. Again, he can't transfer his weight from one leg to the other. So in order to start setting a trap, he has to choose his planted position. Ryan Garcia immediately starts getting a little bit of control. And Devin Haney decides, okay, I'm going to counter him. I'm going to step inside with this shot. Now, this is very interesting for a few reasons, okay? Devin Haney trusts that if he catches you or he disrupts you with his jab because he's strong and explosive, and he really throws this as hard as he can. He does. He saves it up. That's why there's so few of them, because he throws it hard, but he really commits that he's going to hurt you. And he has this belief with his right hand as well. That's why he dropped Regis Prograis. But the thing is, he completely exerts himself. Okay, and that's why he can't follow it up and he can't knock people out. He's so bladed, he throws the shot, it goes whoosh, whoosh, and then he either falls off balance. Even if he hurts the guy, he can't really follow up because it cost him all his energy and all of his athleticism. And that's why, in spite of the fact that he doesn't have good technique, he can still hurt you. But it doesn't matter if a guy does that and he hurts you in a real fight, because as a fighter, we get hit. Right? We're going to find a way to mitigate it. We're going to do this, right? Devin Haney gets hit in this fight a whole bunch of times. Boom! What happens? Well, you got to find a way to stall and control space and circle and step around. Haney does this not by setting traps and circling and stepping around off of his movement, because he doesn't have good movement, because he doesn't have traps. Because if he gets interacted with while he's hurt, while he's pendulum stepping, he's going to be slower, he's not going to see it coming, and he's going to get hit while he's in the air, and he's going to go down. So he has to duck below the waist and grab and hold. Okay? But this sequence here, where he's getting controlled and he tries to intercept in between, this is one of his most common things, where he tries to use his timing and his speed, his explosiveness. Because I want to reorganize the way that I talk about Devin Haney. I always give him credit for having a great jab, one of the best jabs in boxing. And I also give Ryan Garcia credit for having one of the best left hooks in boxing. But I also want to say that it's one of the best it's like the best explosive one that it could be, but it's not a professional, right? Number one, Devin Haney, bow and arrows. We saw that. That's going to be a big problem for him. He doesn't have one that he doesn't have a bow and arrow with, because he has to exert himself as hard as he can, because the rest of his body mechanics are bad. The same thing with Ryan Garcia. There's a very famous clip of Tank Davis talking about how he went to Ryan Garcia's fight and he saw him throw the hook, and he said, "Oh, he's not fast. Oh, that's not fast. I can see that coming. I see what he's doing." And that gave him the confidence to go see it in person. He realized, oh man, the arm is fast, but it doesn't connect to his body. And that's the problem with all the stuff that Devin Haney does. It's like, if you don't know anything about body mechanics and you were just a guy playing a video game, you're like, okay, I'm going to max out the feet so I can do the pendulum step really fast, and then I'm just going to max out the jab. And I don't know anything about boxing, but that's how a computer programmer would beat boxing. And that's what Devin Haney is, right? He's a guy who's just going to explode. Ryan Garcia got lucky that his one is a left hook, so everyone's just like, oh, great fighter, power shot. But Devin Haney's, his best move is just a jab. And again, it's one of the best amateur jabs. Anyone else who has bad footwork, anyone else who can't connect their circling to their stepping around, Devin Haney's going to be able to beat them and just, steal a fight by, exploding on them, jabbing, and then he's a big, strong guy, right? He's been bigger and stronger than all of his opponents. He'll just grab you. He'll duck below the waist. He'll hold. He has all these positions. We're going to talk about a lot of the spoiling that he does. But again, his defense, boom, ducking below the waist. I want to ask you guys, honest question, all of you guys that defend Devin Haney, when you do mitts with your coach, how many times does your coach recommend you putting yourself in this position? All right, that's the end of the debate. So he moves into this position, and I want you to pay attention to this left hand that's on his head. He still got hit here. Now, two things here. Now, if I'm Brian Norman Jr., when he puts his head down there, I'm going to smash my hip into his face right there. Boom. I might even knee him in the head. Why is his head down there? It shouldn't be down there, right? So it's not my fault if I put my legs where they're allowed to go and his head happens to be there, right? Mayweather puts his head all the way down below his shins, right? But that's neither here nor there. Brian Norman Jr. is a big dude. He's a big, strong guy. He's a man, right? He's not an amateur, okay? And that's a big thing that's going to be in this fight. Now, holding. You're never, ever allowed to wrap your arms around your opponent's body ever, for any reason whatsoever. That should just be a knockdown, He's using Ryan Garcia to hold himself up. Is that what's going on here? Kind of looks like it, right? How do you need to frame it to make it such an egregious foul, right? Now, if that guy's allowed to put his hands like there and squeeze you, am I not allowed to put my arm on my own chest and shove it onto your head and create some space? I think so. I think if you're allowed to create space and squeeze me here, this is a grab, right? Oh, he's squeezing the air out of him. It's a chokehold, right? Come on, you guys. Come on. But he's still getting hit here, you know? But this is one of the only things in Ryan Garcia's, or in Devin Haney's defense that allows him to escape. Still gets hit here, right? Now, again, I want you to pay attention to the fact that he's not changing positions. He's not transferring his weight to the back foot. Again, he's trying to slip here and get down. But again, if you look at this, is this a good position? Anybody who's been with me for a long time? No, not a very strong position. He didn't choose that position. He can't punch out of this position. Blah, 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 blah. All the other things wrong with it. And he's still getting hit, moving. Because again, he doesn't have good positions. He doesn't have good defense. The only thing that actually stops this offense. Now again, he's ducking and Ryan Garcia still finds his head. Boom. Right? Boom, boom, boom. Catches him a bunch of times. And again, resetting. And doesn't actually get reset until he gets rebladed. Right? And again, look at his feet again. Now, finally gets on the line, throws this shot. And this is really, really, really important. Okay, take a look at him. This is Devin Haney's special move. Okay, again, Devin Haney's a bladed fighter. Okay, he's always relying on the fact that he's explosive with his jab. If he's getting you with the jab, then anything that he does, you might think is a jab. The first time that he does that move, you're like, jab, So look at him charge into this. Boom. You see how he gets planted here? He coils himself. Okay, now he's trying to get coiled so he can get leverage into the right hand, but I want to pay attention to, and I just want to go back real quick. I don't want to harp on it too much. But we've got him following this guy around. Boom, boom. Right? Now, it's not exactly the same. Okay, I know it's not exactly the same. But he breaks into this shot, and he could throw anything from here. But notice he coiled, Brian Norman Jr.'s opponent, coiled with the probe. He made it look dangerous when he got here like it was going to be a right hand, and Brian Norman Jr. whacked him. He whacked him. Ryan Garcia or Devin Haney, he doesn't have a probe there, right? His probe, in theory, was on the coil, right? So he's coming up with the right hand. We saw he coiled with the shot. He's going to get countered when he moves out of this position against Brian Norman Jr. Almost certainly. Okay? Where are we? Oops. Here we go. Boom. Holding again. All right, let's find that clip, guys. Here it is. So that's where we were. Right hand. Okay. Now, is this a good block, guys, for a left hook? Not really, okay? I want to point out they're really far away. Look at the arm. If it was actually going around the guard, look at how his hand is in front of his face. Right? It's so close to his eye right here. Just put your thumb on your eyeball, okay, guys, and then look outside your right eye and see how much space you can see over there. That's all space you can get punched in the face, okay? Anything that you can see and more, okay? But that's not what we want to take a look at. Again, the only thing that really stops him from getting hit here, boom, gets hit, gets hit, gets hit. If he doesn't grab and he doesn't hold, all that is time that he's getting hit where he has to reset. Just gets hit right on the face with a left hook. This is very important. Pay attention to that clip. We're going to talk about that a little bit later when we get to Ryan Norman Jr. And then boom. 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 Now, there's a lot of reasons why Ryan Garcia didn't get the knockout. A lot. Okay. Again, bad defense, coil. Brian Norman Jr. is able to fight off that little coil in there. And again, this is one of Devin Haney's biggest moves. He does this move all the time where for no reason, he'll just kind of coil in. He'll kind of move into this position. And Brian Norman Jr. has a very snappy left hook. Look at the position that we assume Devin Haney's guard is in right now. Is that covering his whole face right there? Was he open for a left hook there? Now, gets back to the ropes. Boom, boom. Eats some punches, bad defense. Eat some punches. I know that one winds up being on the back of the head. That's, you know, not great. But also, Devin Haney's not supposed to be ducking his head. He's not supposed to be doing this. He's not supposed to be grabbing. This is the only thing that allows Devin Haney to start catching up. He's not allowed to punch here and grab. This is holding and hitting. This is literally illegal. Okay? I want you guys to think about if Tank Davis actually got to fight Jake Paul, and if Jake Paul was grabbing Tank Davis by the body so he couldn't run away and then just beating on him. I want you guys to think about that, and that's what that is. That's what that is, even if you're the same size as the guy there are. Look at how many times both of these guys have postured in front of each other. Now, again, Devin Haney can't transfer his weight. He can't cross the line, transition his weight, change positions. He doesn't have any of that stuff. None of that. Completely bladed, always up and down in his line. This is his special move. And look at him get stuck there. Do you want to do that? I don't know that that's a good move. And then he checked the line. That's how he's like, okay. Now, whenever Devin Haney does something gross like that, he's going to try to do something after. Okay? He's going to make an attack. Some kind. Usually, if he does something like that, he'll do a left hook anyway. We're going to see some of that stuff as well. And don't worry, we're going to get to the Carlos Ramirez fight as well. But again, this bow and arrow here, we're going to see Brian Norman Jr. destroy some bow and arrow jabs from a much better fighter than Devin Haney. He's going to time it with the right hand over the top, going to catch it with the left hook, yada, yada, yada. But more importantly than that, like, I want you guys to pay attention to Devin Haney's position. Is he fighting out of the high guard? Or, well, cross, back foot. He's fighting out of the Philly shell, right? And he's exploding forward with this shot. Now, I'm no expert, but I went to Philly recently, about last year, and my guy got to train and spar. He got to, we got to watch Richardson Hitchens spar. I can't remember who he sparred. My guy got to spar Quadir Albright. But more importantly than that, like, yeah, it's cool to get to see that. But one of the other things that was really fascinating is that literally every single fucker in LA Fitness was fast. They're all fast. All of those guys who would go to the heavy bag in Philly were fast. And they would just tear the heavy bag up for like 10 seconds. And then they'd be like gassing and shit. But they're all fast in Philly. They all fight out of the Philly shell. They all think it's their pride. And Brian Norman Jr. spars those guys too. I don't know where Brian Norman Jr. is from, but I know he spars Jaron Ennis. I know he spars Quadir Albright. And these guys are better Philly fighters than Devin Haney for sure. It's undeniable. Not that they want to be Philly fighters, right? They all want to be complete fighters and be able to fight out of every position. But this position is one of the only positions that Devin Haney throws a punch in, is exploding out of this guard. And that's because he has no front foot position or back foot position. He can't cross the line, transition weight, or change positions. His footwork is bad. It's bad. And again, we're going to keep taking a look at it. We're going to see some more of that stuff. But again, he has so many of these redundant sequences. Again, looking to move into this position, move out of this position, bow and arrow with the hook. Now, tell me how different, oh no, I did it again, how different that is than what goes on here. Boom, boom. Okay, it's the same. It's the same. And Ryan Garcia is just not a professional fighter. So he can't see it coming. Okay. Where are we here? Not there yet. End of the round. Probably that one. Nope. 1 second, guys. Don't worry. Okay, we saw this one already. Saw that one already. I know, so many clips, and my screen editor changed some settings, so when I click back on my thing, it doesn't tell me where I'm at. So sorry, guys. Okay, that's where we are. All right. So I want to pay attention to here. Little stepping jab from Haney. But Ryan Garcia is going to start circling Devin Haney here. Okay, and this is really, really, really important when we take a look at the overall composition of the film. But Devin Haney has to get planted, right? Notice how slow he starts getting as well. And he gets to this position, but he doesn't really have very many positions to explode out of. And he kind of has to wait for Ryan Garcia. Terrible guard. He has to wait for Ryan Garcia to get planted. He doesn't really have the ability to feel comfortable chasing and fighting him. Okay? Now, we're going to see a lot of evidence for this and why this is really, really, really important. But he can't really stop Ryan Garcia from circling and moving around. Okay? Crosses his line this way, jukes back this way, crosses the line this way. Now, this is all really important for a few reasons. Okay? Number one, it shows that Devin Haney is not very good at cutting the ring off. He doesn't want those punches. He's not trying to win the fight by knocking you out. He's going to just try to box you in the center, right, and steal points and just try to be ahead, right? Take up a little space, see what he can steal, right? But he's not really trying to beat you up. He's not really trying to, he just wants enough points, right? But that's not important, okay? The more important thing is that Ryan Garcia has literally been able to circle this guy and move anywhere he wants. He's never gotten trapped. He can go anywhere in the ring. He can cross the line, transition his weight, change positions freely in front of Devin Haney. Devin Haney literally can't stop him from circling. He literally doesn't want to because there's no punches for him. Throws a weak-ass right hand, gets feinted, and then immediately tries to get in here, get under the arm, and grab. Okay? Bad fighter. Bad defense. Doesn't want to fight his opponent on the ropes. Doesn't want to interrupt you circling. He doesn't think that his opponents can even fight circling. Okay? Looking for a punch. Giving up space. Look at these two bladed fighters. I just want to... Okay? Terrible. Absolutely terrible. Now, end of the round there. Jumping in. Jab. Pendulum's in. There's a beat after his jab. Boom. The right hand. There's a beat after his right hand. Both of these punches had a moment after where he could be countered. Okay, and that's very, very, very important. Okay, now, a few things that go on in the first round that stop Ryan Garcia from knocking out Devin Haney. Number one, after he hit him, there's a bunch of holding, right? Control, 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 boom. Bad defense, grabbing, can't grab, still cheating, still holding and hitting. Not even as good at it as Ryan Garcia, right? If Devin Haney's allowed to do it, why isn't Ryan? Now, as we keep going, again, all this extra time, right? I just want to pass by. But Ryan Garcia also exerted a ton of energy. Okay? He's not very efficient because he just starts ripping shots. Okay? Right hand, extra beat after. Now, again, this is one of those things, right, where Devin Haney sometimes has a little bit of confidence where he'll try to catch you coming forward with the 1-2, right? This little timing thing where he'll just throw it. If he jumps in with that jab right there, Brian Norman can catch him before he transitions into the hook, or he can catch the hook, boom, or catch the right hand and then counter him with the hook after. Because, again, Devin Haney always gets stuck right here because usually so much of his strategy is trying to hold after he throws a punch. Okay? Now, getting a little bit of control. It doesn't take that much for Ryan Garcia to start pushing Devin Haney back, right? The little probes, right? Again, same offense. We watched Brian Norman Jr. literally knock out Jin Sasaki when he throws a jab to the body like that. Whacks him with the hook when he's coming in. Right hand, again, holding. Bad defense. Again, these are the only things that actually stop Devin Haney from being hit when Ryan Garcia wants to land shots. Grabbing. Holding his head down, right? Again, I would do that. I would completely lean on his head. Elbow him right in the cheek, right? Don't let him get close to me like this. But again, not very good defense. Getting hit here, coming on the inside. He didn't grab this time. Boom. He gets cracked. If he doesn't grab, he's not a good enough fighter to not get hit by someone who has some hand speed. Okay? And again, getting hit on the way in, getting hit on the way in. No defense, boom, boom. Now, this is all really, really important, okay? This is all really important because Devin Haney learned something in this fight. He learned that if he's going to stand in front of another guy who's fast and not have his hands up, he's going to get hit. And that's why he didn't stand in front of Jose Carlos Ramirez when he didn't want to score. He ran and he pendulumed and jumped away, just trying to get enough points because he can do this in front of those low-level guys who all have bad technique, who are all slow, who all have bad footwork, because he's fast and he's strong and he's in shape. And that makes him explosive in that one single punch that he can throw okay, right? And again, he doesn't connect it to all the things that he does very well. That's why he does goofy stuff like that, right? Now, coming in here, he's about to hurt Ryan Garcia with this left hook here. Control, and he's going to get to the inside. Brian Norman Jr. sees this move and whacks him with the hook. Doesn't let him cross the line. Now, notice this leaping hook looks exactly like that one where he was throwing the ball against the wall, where he jumps into it. Terrible. Terrible. But he does kind of whack Ryan Garcia. But again, he uses all his effort, all his energy, can't follow up. It's too hard for him to consistently set those moves up. Okay? Now, Coyle throws the 1, throws the 2, shifting forward. Is this a good position? Right? Look at how he has to do that. Okay? And again, that's all really, really important when we get to the Brian Norman Jr. film. Now, this is a very, very particularly interesting sequence because this is one of Ryan's best moves. This is the only one that he gets Devin Haney with in the whole fight. Boom, pendulums in, boom, whacks him with the hook. This is one of the most common sequences in all of boxing. Floyd Mayweather did it a lot. Roy Jones would do it a lot. The really highly athletic guys get away with this, getting you to parry their jab, and then instead of throwing a jab, they throw a hook instead, and you walk right into it. This is a throwaway move. This is a throwaway move. This is very basic combat. If you're not doing this in your sparring and you're not able, you suck. This is basic stuff. Okay? And again, there are so many sequences that Devin Haney is just so bad at that he can't chain together on his own punches, especially like on defense, that's going to be such a liability, right? Because he's not able to defend himself against such basic sequences like jab, pendulum in, and then throw a hook, right? Which is jab, jab, right? Jab, jab. You just got to get away from jab, jab, but the second one's a hook. Come on. Are you retarded? Yes, Devin Haney's retarded. Now, this one's very interesting because, again, look at Ryan Garcia penduluming forward, comes in with the hook, and Ryan Garcia tries to throw the right hand, or Devin Haney tries to throw the right hand over the top. This is really important because Devin Haney doesn't have very many sources of offense. So him trying to intercept you off of your pendulum step when you get to the front foot is a very common source of offense for him. We're going to talk about why that's important later. Throws the right hand. How long does it take him to get reset? Right? Can't even reset right after. And again, that's going to be very important as well. Coming in, throws the jab. And now I want you to pay attention to Devin Haney putting his arm on Ryan Garcia's arm. He's trying to control him and stop him from being able to throw the right arm by grabbing him and holding him here. Illegal. Illegal. But also, Ryan Garcia sucks. He's not throwing his right hand anyway, right? And because he's already missed his left hook, he has nothing left. His feet are bladed. He can't throw the right hand. He's not even going to try. So this is not even a good strategy. This feels like some of that, really, really super goofy, like Barry Robinson kind of shit. But here he is, jumps in with the 1-2. And again, Devin Haney's structure, right? Does he transfer his weight to the back foot? Does he slip this punch? Look at his hip. Look at his knee. He eats this shot, right? Now, I want to point out a few reasons. He sees this shot coming. How early? 1. Boom. He saw it coming from the 1. He was ahead of it a whole beat. This is really, really, really important for later. Okay? Really, really, really important. Now, Devin Haney coming forward, right? Going through his little active guard. And again, this is the only way that he can find any offense because off of the circling. All right? He was able to hide this trap because he's circling this way to the left, right? Boom. And he's crossing Devin Haney's line here with his left leg, his right leg, and then now he's going to charge up his laser to throw this hook, right? A little trap off of the circling to the left. and then he just tries to do the same thing, right? But this little trap here, he's going to wind up getting Devin Haney. And notice he didn't have to sit on the line and wait. He was able to do that stuff while he was circling. Very, very, very important, okay? Even though Ryan Garcia sucks at that, Devin Haney can't stop him from circling and moving around. He can't stop him from doing that the whole fight if he wants to, okay? It's very, very, very important. But he can't stop him, right? Goofy little left hook right here. Again, we know Devin Haney. Does he want to knock him out? Does he want to land that punch? He doesn't want to land that punch because he knows if he throws his right hand, he'll be off balance. Ryan Garcia will be coiled up, maybe, but he's terrified again. You know, and Ryan Garcia just has to stop, get a little bit of control of Devin Haney, not let Devin Haney have 3 or 4 beats in a row where he's like, oh, yeah, I feel safe. I feel okay. And then just do something in front of him, okay? And again, very, very, very important stuff. And again, circling, moving around. Ryan Garcia can go wherever he wants. Oh, feint him, feint him, feint him. Oh, oh. Just controlled him a little bit, and he sacrificed, and just a little bit of feinting, and it sapped away all the confidence that Devin Haney had in striking there and thinking that he was going to be able to steal something and get away. Now again, he can't stop Ryan Garcia from circling and stepping around. Ryan Garcia's figuring out the timing. He sat down, sat there, waited. Devin Haney tried to steal a shot, and he countered him. Now he's going to keep circling. And again, this is not even good circling. Look at how many times he changes positions without throwing a punch or controlling position. Feinting, probing, right? All that. Circle, circle. Back this way. Boom. Feint him. Cross the line. Watch his back leg. He's going to start charging up his laser again. Boom. Boom. Breaks into it. Bop, bop. And again, Devin Haney can't stop him from doing this. Literally can't stop him because he has no positions. He can't cross the line, transition his weight, change positions. He has to follow him around in his crappy, terrible, gross, disgusting Philly shell that only works against people that aren't going to be physical with him, but he's allowed to be physical with them, right? Devin Haney's a kid that goes to the gym and spars other kids and doesn't fight real men and doesn't fight bigger men than him. It's always, let's go to the gym. Let's only spar within our weight class. Oh, we're going to only take the best, the most predictable fights. Oh, we're only going to fight George Kambosos kind of guys in the gym. Only guys that are smaller than this. Oh, no. I'm a 135 pounder. And then he goes to the gym and he spars at 170, 180. Right? But no, I'm a 135er. I'm a 135er for sure. Stupid. But, you know, if you think you can do that, by the way, if you guys think you can torture yourselves to make that weight and be that big and that strong and all that stuff, man, try. You know, go for it, dude. Hell yeah. But it stopped him from ever learning how to actually fight. Now he's in the most important fight of his career. Luckily, he's already gotten paid, so it doesn't matter, right? His career can be completely over. No grabbing or holding. Boom, 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 boom. Get smacked. No grabbing or holding. What happens when you stand in front of a guy and he's not shuffling around, pendulum stepping, doing this, doing that, because he has no defense? Boom, boom. Gets whacked. Can't sit in front of a guy. Can't sit in front of a guy. Gets whacked. Boom, boom, boom. Gets whacked. Gets whacked. Can't sit in front of a guy. Can't sit in front of a guy. His defense is shit. It's absolute trash. Again, he's getting mauled. And again, Ryan Garcia is fast, but he's not as big of a puncher as Brian Norman Jr. Brian Norman Jr. is a legit striker. He is a legit power puncher. But he's also a good fighter. And we're going to get to see that. Now again, boom, boom, boom. The action finally stops when Devin Haney starts being physical and grabbing. Okay? If he doesn't grab and he doesn't hold and he's not running, he's just going to get beat up. So, here we go. Again, penduluming around. Doesn't want to fight, doesn't want to fight. This is going to be a very common sequence if he's running and not able to get planted. He's not going to be able to get planted, my theory, in front of Brian Norman Jr. So sequences like that where he's penduluming and he's overusing that kind of movement. Again, all this stuff also makes it very obvious that he's not trying to strike because he can't even hide his jab off of this movement. Look at how out of position he falls when he does do it off of his movement. This is one of the first jabs he throws in the fight. And then all the subsequent ones in the fight wind up being much different. Take a look at how shit his active guard gets. He settles down into this little boom, and then he tries to explode and then move away. And again, this is going to be a very common thing for him, where he's going to circle and run and do all that stuff, not engage, run, fake trap right there, in striking position, run, settle down. Here, nope, run. And then settle down. And then now he's going to try to strike. He's going to try to do something, boom. Or he's going to wait for you to strike so he can do his 1-2, right? Counter you when you come in, or just hit you with a 2. Counter you with a 1, or hit you with a 1-2. But again, circling, penduluming, no real traps. He just starts bouncing and L-stepping, all very bad stuff, until he's ready to put his blade on the line and try to intercept you. Now again, the stepping jab like this, again, he just doesn't have good positions, right? He just doesn't have position 1 or position 2. And he makes it very obvious when he is and when he's not going to be striking, and again, it's not that he's gun shy. It's just that if you're not intending to score in front of your opponent, right, in his theory, if he doesn't need the points, if he's ahead, he doesn't want to be on the line so that they can set him up for just controlling him, pushing him off the line with a jab and following up with a hook. One of the most basic sequences, right? That's what's going to happen to anyone who sits on the line with anyone, right? So this is Devin Haney's attempt at an active guard, right? But again, he just doesn't change positions. He just doesn't have that stuff available to him. Ooh, illegal. Now, after he throws you from the ropes, he's going to grab you by the waist. This is one of the other opportunities that he's going to look for some offense. He just tries to take up the center of the ring because now he has the most amount of space behind him, so he can find the most amount of time to pendulum step and do that little thing and get into his rhythm as he can, right? Because he wants to get into that rhythm, figure out when he's going to throw the shot, what the point is going to look like, but he needs this beat to happen over and over and over again for him to feel comfortable. Now again, 1-1-2 right there, exploding out of it, terrible. With no active guard, that's just not going to be something that works off of Brian Norman Jr. Now, not too much of that stuff, right? I just wanted to point out a little bit of that, and we're going to take a look at the Brian Norman Jr. stuff. Now, feinting, controlling with the lead hand as he's circling. Parries a jab that doesn't come, then immediately attacks after, steals some jabs to the body. Circling, stepping jab comes at him, whoosh. And this is like 5 seconds into the fight. He's circling and stepping around, and he makes it to the front foot after stealing a couple punches. And when he gets to the front foot, his opponent tries to attack him, boom, and he whacks him with the hook. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, now very, very, very important because he does that all on the fly. Okay, now he's going to start circling, stepping around him, right? Giving him a little bit of lead hand control, crossing the line here, right? He coils himself, crosses the line, comes up. His opponent recognizes that his weight's getting to the line. Oh, got to do something. He doesn't exit the line. He pendulum walk forward, comes forward, uses the momentum to probe on the line, and then gives him a feint. So he touches the line and then gives him a fast move like he's going to touch him to the body like he did before, where he touched him upstairs and stole the jab to the body. So now he's controlling him and then going to a fake jab to the body. So he controlled him on the first beat, made him interact with him just a little bit. They're both probing, and then gave him a feint here and got a big, jerky thing, all while he's circling, right? Very, very, very important stuff, okay? Now, again, touching his lead hand. His opponent tries to counter him here with a jab, just like Devin Haney's going to do, and he whacks him with the hook. Beautiful. Now, gets on the line with a 2, boom, boom. Throws a 1. Devin Haney has a terrible guard, and his first move away from a punch is usually going to be moving straight back as far away as he can. He doesn't get him here, and in fact, his opponent whacks him and kind of stumbles him, right? His opponent kind of hurts Brian Norman Jr., but that's also the punch that he knocks this guy out with. He does not abandon his strategy, even though he gets hit and countered right there, trying to land it. But he jumps on the line with a 2-1 like that, 20 seconds into the fight. Boom, boom. Now again, Devin Haney does a lot of goofy stuff like that where he's going to change levels, right? Coil himself. And I don't call what Devin Haney does coiling, because he's not really coiling. It's bad coiling, right? He is just kind of getting down a little bit, but it's not changing positions. He's not getting coiled correctly. 2, lips out, boom, whacks him. Now, Brian Norman Jr. just did this move to him. So now he's doing it to him, right? He's like, I can do that too. A classic one of those things where, like, monkey see, monkey do, right? But it's like, oh, you want to play hard? Huh? You want to play hard? I'll play hard. Kind of bullshit. But moving around, again, controlling the lead hand, active guard, control. And he touches, remember I told you, again early, touches the guard up top and then steals a jab to the body. This time actually stealing the jab to the body. Back to the circling, feinting when he gets to the front foot, and now leaping into a hook, right? So last time he went control up top and then jab to the body, and this one he just goes completely leaping hook. If your opponent winds up guessing jab to the body, they're going to get hit by the hook. If they wind up guessing jab to the head, they're going to get hit by the hook. And again, this is just basic fighting. And look at how well Brian Norman Jr. can control space and slow his opponent down, right? Controlling the pace and the tempo with the lead hand control, slowing his... And again, Devin Haney, his timing is going to be shit. It's going to be super bad because he's going to be getting controlled and he's going to be trying to explode off of these timings that Brian Norman Jr. already explodes out of. Now, getting to the front foot, boom, counter hook. And again, picking him off on the way inside. Again, this little move here that he does, this is so Devin Haney-like. And the fight's done. It's done. Controlling him. Boom. Gets touched by a jab. Oh, no biggie. Moves off the line. Reset. Front foot. Controls him with the jab. Back foot. Front foot. Controls him with the jab. Gets on the line. Feints him. Gets on the line. Feint. Moves off the line. He knows he's going to get attacked and timed right there. Look at how fluid and relaxed his opponent is, though. Right? Again, he's not overexerting himself. He's not exactly telling on himself. Right? It's not like one of those... Whoops. Little clip is all jacked up now. Anyway. And then again, getting to the front foot. He's used to those timings. And now, even if the timing does come, stealing a jab to the body off the same timing. Again, the only tool that Devin Haney even has to fight and score, and he's dominating a better jab than him, a more professional jab. Is it going to be as fast and explosive? Not in every position. Maybe not. Oops, let's get back to the... Yeah, it was this one. Coming forward. The jab comes. Does get him again here, right? But he starts getting back to the jab game, okay? Moving around, getting into the same position. Controlling him. Notice, didn't get hit by the jab there. Ready for the jab there. The jab comes, parry. Ready for the right hand here. Again, like on all these beats, he just shows that he's ready. Boom. Now his opponent comes forward. Bah. Here's the front foot. Boom. 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 Ready to counter. Ka. Bah. Just ready. I just don't think that Devin Haney is going to be slick enough to sneak up on Brian Norman Jr. I think Brian Norman Jr. is a real pro, really good fighter. Like, Brian Norman Jr. is a real top 10 pound-for-pound fighter. A real one. Like Crawford. Right? This guy's a real fighter. And Devin Haney's just not there. Controlling with the jab. Double jab comes out. He's coming in. Boom. Body shot. Coming up top with the follow-up. Now, again, all the things that we saw Devin Haney do, right? This guy's doing better. Moving around. He's got better traps with the jab. Devin Haney would jump on the line with the 1 and the 2 sometimes and fall off balance. This guy's jumping on the line. He's getting under a counter jab off of controlling the line. And then he's throwing a left-hand cross off of the right hand. So he's on balance so much that he can throw multiple power shots off of a counter punch. Dude, Devin Haney is going to be so far behind in this fight. It's going to be sad. Back to the jab game. And now immediately whacking him with the hook instead. And again, this is the biggest problem that Devin Haney had with Ryan Garcia. And this is literally a throwaway technique to him. It's literally basic boxing. Boom. Timing him perfectly. This is his opponent trying to exert and sneak up on him. Right? Whoosh. Boom. And he whacks him. Intercepts him beautifully. Again, getting around the jab, using the lead hand control to stop his opponent from having a way to interact with him when he wants to, right? Excellent control. And again, this guy's a better fighter than Devin Haney. He's not exactly as fast, but better timing, better, and I think this guy's more dangerous. Boom, boom, boom. Again, jumping on the line with the 1-2-3 combo. And again, Devin Haney's going to shell up. What's he going to do from the first shot? Boom. He's going to start ducking. Boom. Boom. And the left hook is still going to be able to come. I don't think Devin Haney's going to be able to get away from the shots. I think he's going to be too fast. Parry. Counter. Right? He's seeing the jabs coming. Excellent power shot after. Timing him beautifully there. Again, getting around the jab very easily. Again, the guy has only one way to control space, getting around the jab. Now, this gets back to a little bit of the Devin Haney, okay? Devin Haney literally could not stop his opponent from circling him. Look at Brian Norman Jr. circling and stepping around this guy, right? Boom, boom, boom. Did it look like he was about to jump into a big combo like this? But what's Devin Haney's number one defense anytime anyone does anything to him? They just immediately pendulum step off the line. And here we see him setting a trap, getting him to do the thing, and then jumps off the line and whacks him with a big hook. A big, huge, strong guy. Bigger, stronger than Devin Haney. This guy is way more dangerous than Devin Haney. He's huge. Now, getting on the line with a 2, boom. And immediately following it up with a 3, whack. And hurting him. Now again, I think that Devin Haney may see the 2 coming, but also, he didn't see Ryan Garcia's 2 coming, and he told on himself when he threw a 1 first. How is Devin Haney going to be able to get away from a lead right hand, right? Now, let's not even just think about the fact that it's a lead right hand. It's also that Devin Haney loves to get into that front foot position and just go bounce, 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 right? High guard Philly, high guard Philly, high guard right hand, boom! And he's just going to get whacked. And then if he doesn't get whacked, it's the follow-up shot that's going to get him. Because this guy can chain multiple punches together, right? He's got follow-up shots, boom. And again, this is a throwaway technique to him. He gets on the line controlling. He only needed 1 beat. Devin Haney is in some serious trouble because all Brian Norman Jr. has to do is anything. This guy couldn't stop Brian Norman Jr. from circling and stepping around. Devin Haney couldn't stop the amateur Ryan Garcia from doing it. Boom. And again, the guy tries to exert himself, tries to go first, gets coiled, boom, takes a step down, boom, and Brian Garcia is destroying him. Now, he catches Brian Norman Jr. too. Very, very important. Okay, I want you guys to understand how important that is. Because he's catching Brian Norman with these power shots. Feint, 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 boom. And then into 2, boom. And again, feinting with the rear hand. Boom, feint the rear hand. What? Control. Feint the rear hand. Boom. And then control rear hand. Boom, boom. Into the 1. This guy's catching Brian Norman Jr. too. Just inches off on this one. Inches are miles in boxing. But this guy's not drowning. He's not out of the fight. But Brian Norman Jr., boom. Caught him right there, right? But Brian Norman Jr. basically wins the fight right here. Boom, boom. The guy gets up 1 time after this, right? Didn't go down. Now Brian Norman Jr. is going to go hit him with a 2-1 and drop him and knock him out. Nah, make him quit. He makes this guy quit in the 3rd round. And this guy was having success with his own power punches. Do you know what kind of position you have to be in to understand, like, oh, wow, I'm landing, but I'm not going to win? No way. And again, there's levels to this. There's levels to this. And this guy realized in round 3 that even though he could be only inches away from landing his best punches, that those inches are on the inside of the inches that Brian Norman Jr. is already a master of. There's just no way that Devin Haney comes out ahead on this. I'm going to be betting on this fight. I've been doing some betting on my private Discord server. and I'm going to be taking the private betting more seriously and not doing all my film study, all putting it all out there. But if you're interested in joining the private server, it's not cheap, but we're going to be focusing a lot on boxing betting. We made some good money this last weekend, picking Sean Brady to get knocked out by Miles Morales. Got some good money on that KO. I missed my parlays, but yeah, gonna be having a lot of fun in there. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'm gonna be betting on Brian Norman Jr. to win this by knockout for sure. Yeah, see you guys.